Okay, so hopefully we're now live, and hopefully I've got a fast enough connection. As I just had to reset my connection a moment ago because we weren't getting quite enough upload. So today we're going to stream some vintage. We're going to be streaming Grixis Thieves, so we're going to be playing Grixis Thieves today, testing it out under the new London Mulligan. I've also made a handful of kind of minor adjustments to the deck list. I think last I played I had a third mana drain, so I've trimmed down on the drains and I'm trying out a Tezzeret, just as I guess an alternative win con, a tutor, and just a way to beat Null Rod and things like that if you end up in an awkward position. We're also playing around a little with the sideboard. We are playing an extra Pyroblast in place of the second Mindbreak trap that I've previously been playing. And I'm trying out Goblin Crater Makers, just as, I guess, a good utility card, good anti-shops card, and we have an extra Bifrost. Now, I have a sneaking feeling with this much red artifact removal, I probably should be playing a basic mountain. However, I'm still not. So, just to give a brief overview of what our game plan is going to generally look like, against blue decks, we probably want to be bringing in like Notion Thief, Pyroblast, stupid Magic Online. We probably want some number of these three against blue decks. We'll just pick and choose a little. Against Dredge, we have Jailer, Ravenous Trap, 2 Crypts, 2 Cages, and we're also interested in the Pithing Needle. Against Shops, we want all of these, and probably the Jailer and the Needle. Just as, I guess, general utility cards. So, with that in mind, let's get on to the league. So, I've just been asked why there was a 40-second stream before. That's because I started streaming, realised that my upload was crap, and reset the stream. Alright, so let's get on to our match one. Now, we're kind of towards the end of this league season, so it may be... Actually, no, there's still a reasonable number of active players, so... normally it kind of trickles down a little, but, anywhere from 100 to 110 is pretty standard for the vintage leagues. The Thalias are in the garbage pile where they belong. There is no good reason to play Thalia in any format ever, except maybe Standard, where at least, it's a bear. Does anyone have any just general queries about the deck list at the moment as well? I guess for those that are interested, under the London Mulligan, it's possible we should be playing Black Leylines. I think they get far more consistent under the London Mulligan. Having said that, handful of changes at a time, just so I can kind of get a feel for how things work. So hopefully not going to be waiting here too long. While we are waiting, I'm going to top my beer up. You don't think ley lines get more consistent under the new Mulligan, Jack? The fact that you see 7 cards and you can choose to keep one of them in hand? So, like, my personal experience with this is that I've been on the receiving end of quite a few ley lines of late, both by playing around with Dredge and Storm. I can tell you that you see a lot more ley lines more consistently. I guess it's still a small sample size so far, so we'll find out. So how does that math work, Jack? How do we get to 5% more often, or 5% more consistently? I mean, it's statistically significant, right? But 1 in 20 games, you reckon? So why don't we just assume that there's going to be, I think if you play ley lines in your deck at any point, if you're going to draw up a 7 and you don't see a ley line, you're going to take a mulligan. I have Cooper's Stout at the moment, Adrian. And I'll probably be switching to cider in a moment. And if I run out, I may need a 10-minute break to go to the shops. I just wanted a nice big long neck to get a little bit of a buzz on to help remove the long-standing hangover of the weekend. Maybe I should have got something a little more alcoholic, maybe like a super strength stubby of something. So I swear to God, I don't normally wait quite so long in the vintage leagues. I guess 5 minutes isn't completely out there, but you read it somewhere, hey? Yeah, but where's the 1 in 20 games coming from, Jack? So I guess while we're waiting, okay, audio's breaking up a little. How is it for you, Jack? I have a feeling of Vodafone are being a bit shit at the moment. And as I'm on a mobile connection, because of course, as many, as I continue to rant about, I still can't get decent internet in my home. Okay, so what you've just put out there for me, Jack, how does that account for always seeing 7 cards? As I said, you're almost snap mulliganing any hand that doesn't have leyline. At least a 7. You'll probably keep a 6, but you're probably going to snap mulligan a 7 without a leyline. Just because the new rule is so much more lenient on mulligans. So mull to 5, 70... So if you get a 5% increase, does that give you a roughly 80% chance of... So 77.8. So very close to 80% chance of having a leyline in your opener. Alright, I can try resetting the connection again. So everybody's going to get booted from the stream in a moment, just as a heads up, okay? Let me know if you've heard that. Actually, the speed's ticking back up. I'm going to hold for now. It's still a little on the slow side, but... So I'm guessing most people here haven't used OBS. I'll just show you quickly. It's very, very, very exciting stuff. You can see the speed meter just here, telling me what my current upload is. So that's been sitting at like 600 to 700 for a while. Now it's ticking up to like averaging, seems to mostly be sitting around 1500. So I think I'm going to leave it there, rather than, tempt fate. At some point, there's meant to be some Vodafone improvements in this area. So hopefully once they're done, I will actually have reliable 4G. Now, while we're waiting, I guess I'm quickly going to, given sitting around doing nothing is boring, let's talk about the Oath deck that we may or may not get around to playing. So, reasonably stock Oath list. I think I cribbed it almost wholesale from just one of the 5-0 leagues. You just got your standard selection of cantrips, a handful of missteps. Yeah, casual 10 minutes in the queue. It's real fucking exciting. Graham, we're not playing Oath. I'll quickly show you what we are playing tonight. You can pass your own comments. Grixis Thieves, basically what I played last time, except we've changed a mana drain for a Tezzeret in the main board. We're still trialling Subterranean Tremors and Gifts Ungiven. Yeah, you got an IKEA shelf, just bin it. The other changes that we made here, Graham, I've swapped a Mindbreak Trap for a Pyroblast just because I think that's going to be better. We've still got a second Notion Thief in the board. We're trialling Goblin Crater Makers as alternative Grave Hate. We're also, sorry, not alternative Grave Hate, Shops Hate over Energy Flux. We're also trying out an extra Bifrost because without Energy Flux we probably need the extra Sweeper. All these red cards I was saying before probably means I need a Mountain in the sideboard, but I don't have it, so so be it. We're still trying a Needle. I guess Needle's going to be the card that might end up being a Mountain. And of course we have a selection of Dredge Hate. I'm keen to find out how the Crater Makers go just as like good utility cards, even hitting things like the shitty Eldrazi decks that are the bane of my life. Fingers crossed they turn out to be okay. Back to the Oath list that I'm running. So as I mentioned, I pretty much pinched it wholesale from a 5.0 list. The changes that have been made are... I think the list I nicked had 3 copies of Oath, 4 copies of Forbidden Orchard, so I've just reversed that. I think Forbidden Orchard can be a bit of an awkward card, and I'd rather have 3. We added a Jace just because I like playing with Jace, and it lets you play a better control game. Island Chord's great. Mission Briefing has been fun. We're playing what looks more or less like the current standard Oath package of just what's this doing? Alright, well there's meant to be a Grizzlebrand here. Okay, so we're just playing the standard Oath package of Inferno Titan, Niv Mizzet, and Grizzlebrand. Inferno Titan is good against creatures, Grizzlebrand's good against everything, and Niv Mizzet is really quite strong against, I guess, all the blue decks. Just because, I don't know if anybody's read the text for it, but A, you can hardcast it, and B, it just pings everything on the board, interacts with your opponent's life total, draws you cards. It does basically everything you could possibly want. Sideboard, we have a Blazing Archon. I guess that's pretty much a dredge card. I think I would like it against shops too. Then we just have a bit of an array of utility cards. So we have... Oh, good job. Just bin it. I told you, bin it. So these are our interaction for blue decks, these two here. Echoing Truth is a broad removal spell. Abrades as creature and artifact removal. Couple of Ravenous Traps as some of our Dredge Hate with 2 Crypts being the other part. Dredge is not the hardest matchup in the world for us. Given if we can resolve an Oath, we'll pretty much always get it off. Sorcerer's Spyglass, just as a nice utility card. You cast what against Storm? An IKEA box. What, they quick scoped? Alright, I'm going to rejoin this queue. This is annoying. Oh yeah, okay. So Niv, yeah, I can see why you'd scoop to Niv Mizzet. I'm guessing this is modern Stormjack. I could have gone to the shops and got more beer by now. Why the fuck were you playing Niv Mizzet in Legacy? We didn't get paired and miss it. I rejoined the queue in the hope that it would speed things up. This is probably not going to work, but let's find out. So I have a feeling we're going to get to play maybe most of one league tonight at this rate, if we have to queue for half an hour between. I think you need to play Vintage. You don't get to play Vintage very often. You might as well use your power, have some fun. Oh yeah, or give me your power. That's fine too. Hey, we have a match. All right. Just in time for me to almost run out of beer in my cup. Okay, so this hand is a snap keep. We've got a library on the draw. There's like roughly a 40-ish% chance that library's not what we want, but I think we'll take the 60% odds and take the library. We even have a couple of guaranteed land drops to make, so I think we're just going to sit on this for a while. We have removal, Planeswalker, a Notion Thief. That seems good. There's a couple of really easy ways we can lose this. One is a very fast outcome. One of them is Storm. Dredge, of course, we're never going to win game one against. And I guess Survival's going to be a dog. Hey, Basic Mountain. That's what I'd like to see. So we'll just play a library and we will pass the turn. We'll draw in his upkeep. And so I guess this means we're going to 9 cards soon. You can take a time walk. And I guess this means we're against one of the god-awful bug decks. So we have a decision about what to pitch here, because we're going to have to pitch something. I think it's going to be the basic island. I think with an active library, we're going to hit enough extra cards. Okay, and Jace is a good force pitch. Sorry, the surplus Jace is a good force pitch. We're going to be okay with Null Rod. We can actually remove it if we feel the need to, and I think we're going to pitch a Jace. Does anybody have any thoughts about what to pitch here? What are our actual win cons? I guess if they're on a bug deck, Tinker into Blight still is legitimate. But if we pitch the Misstep, we can snap Misstep. I think I kind of like that. I was happy to play the fetch. I just want to make land drops and we'll... Oh, I meant to draw a card. Okay. And I guess we can brainstorm here. We keep the Abrade because we care about Leovold. Yeah, I think the Misstep seems like the logical one from here, just because we can actually just snap into it really easily. Everything else I kind of want to hold on to. Didn't I just shovel that fucking Tezzeret away? I'll be right back with more beer. And I think we're actually interested in forcing this Infernal Tutor here, and I think I'm going to pitch... just about anything we do actually gives us away here. But I think the Tezzeret's going to be hardest to cast. Oh, there's that misstep we wanted. I wonder if maybe we remove the null rod soon. Although maybe we just make a few more land drops. Alright, so we draw a card and we cast a Reb. And we... he wants to gush. I guess that's fine. Oh, okay, strip mine. Well, library was nice while it lasted. So I'm not quite sure. I guess maybe we just cruise. I'm going to leave the other Jace in the yard just in case we end up going for York's Will. Well, fuck. I guess we're going to pitch Dig. It's tough to have decisions. I want to keep the Snapcaster Mage. I guess I don't care so much about a Braid at this point. I think I can even get rid of the other Jace. We're going to be pretty comfortable picking a fight here. Our opponent has no blue mana up. We have multiple missteps and a force of will. And if needs be, we also just have a rebuy off the Snapcaster Mage if we just hit another land, which we should be reasonably likely to do from here. Well, fuck. Who likes having absolutely everything? So I guess we need to pitch like nothing now. I guess we still need a way to remove the null rod. So the null rod's actually getting annoying now. No, I have not. So I think I really, really, really want a fetch land here. Okay, so I think our opponent's about to cruise. So What do we reckon? Force pitch. What do we pitch to force? I guess we're less excited about Snapcaster Mage if our plan is going to be... Yeah, okay, cool. So our plan there was to basically land an Ocean Thief. I like your idea. To, find a way to... We have a way to blow up the Null Rod. It involves Yawgmoth's Will. Or actually, we also have Hercules. So what are we going to cut here? So I think we actually just want like Pyroblast. Maybe we want Crater Makers. And I don't think I'm that high on an extra Notion Thief. So I don't think I like Hercules. You didn't like that force there, Graham? I actually thought we were so far ahead it actually doesn't matter. All I need to do at this point is just find a black source, and I could probably lock him out of the game. I guess I'll cut a Vamp. Cutting a Vamp feels a bit bad here, just because I think Vamp's quite good in the slower matchups, but we need to trim something. I guess a lot of the bug decks are surprisingly low on blue count. Or do I just drop a Jace? I think I drop a Jace. So the reason to cut a Jace here is just my experience is, especially in Vintage where you have no creatures, Jace gets a lot worse. When you do come across creatures, we're going to keep the library again. We have a way to remove... So we have a way to remove a Null Rod or a Leovold if we need it. Well, fuck. It's not that we didn't see that coming. It's not that we didn't, know that was a possibility, but... So I think we have to play a Volk here. We will brainstorm end of turn if he... Maybe we can hold off brainstorming. So we want to hold up Pyroblast for as long as possible. So he's got a misstep? Yep, okay, fine. I think we're still okay with this. Yeah, look, it's good to draw good cards. He's going to Thought Seizes? Oh no, Deathrite Shaman, okay. So I think I kind of want to remove that. Oh, fuck off. Okay. What do you reckon here? What do we do? can't imagine we're going to mana screw him. Maybe we can try. So I'm not sure if our opponent knows that we play any black cards yet, because I don't actually think he's seen any black out of our deck. So I'm not sure how relevant it's going to be. So how do people feel about Crater Maker here? Like, I know it's not a braid, but I can't help but feel... Oh shit, this looks like a Leovold. Hopefully we top deck, like, Force of Will to protect our braids. Yeah, fuck. Alright. What can you do? So I think we're in trouble now. Yeah, Spell Pierce, no worries. So I guess we can take a few hits from the Leovold. The problem is just what it's doing to our draws, and they're very likely to top deck another Wasteland sooner rather than later. For anybody who's not aware, fair bug decks are actually really awful for this Grixis pile. I think we can just about concede from here. I think what we actually need to draw is like land into Force of Will and hope that's enough. And actually we could probably also, like, if we top deck a land and we resolve a drain, we can probably Subterranean Tremors. So our outs are very slim here, but they're not completely unachievable. Unless he's about to dig. Yeah, I think we're going to scoop to a Jace. Maybe we want a needle. How do people feel about a needle? Although maybe that takes us too low down on win cons. And it doesn't actually hit that much. No, okay, so I think we're fine. Yeah, okay, I think we're just going to hit submit. I'll be back in a moment. I've got to use the bathroom. Wouldn't be a T1 needle in the dark, but it'd just be Deathrite Shaman, and I don't think that's enough. In case anybody hasn't noticed, we have got a perfect 3 of 3 here with our library. Unfortunately, we're on the play, but I'm going to snap this off anyway, and we're going to, hopefully next turn, at some point sooner rather than later, we're going to draw to hand size, discard Blight, Steel. Doesn't matter. So the reason I'm firing off this brainstorm now, it looks a bit stupid, but it stops him from top decking Spell Pierce and being able to play it. Still quite a few things that can go wrong from here. But I think if we hit a red land... Yes, I mean, if we're needling in the dark, we're always needling Deathrite Shaman, right? Okay, that is not the land that we wanted. That's the first black source we've seen. And it's turned up at exactly the wrong time. So if he goes to Leovold, I think we're pushed to force here. So like Needle is quite relevant in this matchup, even though we are like only needling Deathrite Shaman. It's just Deathrite Shaman is really good against us. And so we've got a bit of a weird situation here where, like, normally in front of this many Deathrite Shamans, you'd probably want to pitch like a Dig Through Time because you're never going to get enough of a graveyard. However, with gifts, it is a little bit too sensitive to Deathrite Shaman. And now I think we're in trouble. So we've got a way to remove the Leovold. We just can't actually do anything yet. We're just doing a really good job at drawing the wrong half of our deck very consistently. Despite having library almost every single game. So our opponent might have a Decay for the Time Vault, and probably still does have a Null Rod somewhere in his deck. Unless he's thought that we're on straight blue-red, in which case he probably bought a Null Rod out. So we still have an out. We just need to find like exactly I guess we probably want like red source voltaic key. How much damage does he have left? Okay, so I mean clearly now he's got lethal. I feel like he should have held up the Snapcaster Mage there. And I guess maybe he has the misstep in hand. Although, does Tinker do it as well? So this isn't amazing. It only really buys us a turn at best. And we know that it's very likely that he actually has interaction for this. So how much mana do we have? So if we let that resolve, if we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, nah. Alright, GG's. So I guess we're just going to hope that there aren't so few people currently playing in the league that we get paired with the same guy, because otherwise this is going to be real boring. Is the audio a little bit better at the moment now, by the way? So I'm kind of hoping everything is just streaming a little bit more smoothly, just because I can see my my speedo, I guess you'd call it, on OBS, just telling me that things are ticking along a little better. S, what the hell are you saying? Yeah, Graham, if you want to play the best deck to leverage the fact that you are good at Magic and a tier deck, play the Pyromancer deck, the blue-red Pyromancer deck. It's just, if you look on MTG Goldfish, it's just listed as Xerox. Give me a sec, I'll see if I can pull it up. Just going to move that there so I can keep an eye on it. So for anyone who's not terribly familiar with Vintage, this is the deck that's kind of been proving itself to be one of the strongest contenders around at the moment. It's just very efficient. It just resolves an early threat. It's basically a Delver deck. Only you don't play Delver. The principle's the same. You just have like a lot of cheap or free interaction. You Snapcaster Mages. You've tried it. How did you like it? Because I think it feels really good. It just feels very smooth. It plays like a legacy deck, which sounds bad in Vintage context, but is actually really good. It just means that it's consistent and it's smooth and it just works. Vintage decks tend to like do a lot of very powerful things, but are often a little clunkier. Paradoxical has problems, and one of its problems is actually this deck. So like a deck that just plays a couple of however many Pyroblasts you feel like, it has interaction for artifacts, it just and Snapcaster Mages. And I can't stress enough how good I think like Pyro and Snap in combination are, along with like Dak Fade and just everything the deck is doing. Just makes it really powerful against most blue strategies. If you want to beat blue decks, you play this deck, I think. So you were playing Paradoxical? Or you're playing like the Jeskai version with 2 Lavinias? So where was that Jeskai version with a mentor? Yeah, no, this conversation is really easy, Graham. All I need to do is, just sit here and wait. Oh shit, it's the same dude. Alright, we're going to keep this hand. I am not real happy about it, but we have a Mox, we have an Ancestral, and we have a Force of Will, and maybe we'll get to resolve an Ocean Thief. Yeah, okay, so you're playing like the Jeskai version there. So I think the reason the Pyromancer version works better, like just the straight Pyromancer version, is you get to add... Well, you have green for your Ancient Grudges, and you also, like... You're just a little bit smoother. Well, I think this is shaping up a little bit better. Yeah, sorry. So, like I was saying, it feels a little bit smoother. The reason being, you just play a 2-color mana base fundamentally, and you use that 2-color mana base to basically just make sure that you're good against Wasteland. You're good against just about everything, really. Alright, so how do we do this? We can subterranean tremors, so maybe we do that as step number 1. And do we want a Notion Thief here? I think we Notion Thief. So the reason Notion Thief here... Yeah, I guess painted... Adrian, the problem with the London Mulligan that I've been noticing is if you're like very linear and very degenerate, the issue that you run into is that... Abrupt decay, sure. The issue that you run into is you're actually a lot more constrained by, believe it or not, by the fact that your opponents just hit hate a lot more easily. So you get better hands, but your opponent's hands are a lot messier. And when I say messy, I mean they tend to have more gas that's going to hit harder. Yeah, I think not. That's upsetting. I want one more mana for that Jace. Okay, so do people have any ideas about how we can improve our post-board game here? I still feel like these are the... I keep seeing LOTV, and I think it's Liliana of the Vale, and I keep wondering why the fuck that makes a difference. So I guess I'm still... not the biggest fan of Jace in front of Leovold. I like Crater Makers. I think I'd just run it back like that. No, look, I can untap the Sapphire with Key whenever I need to. So I'm better off just letting him act, and I can react, if that makes sense. So I can basically, so if he wants to do something like Spell Pierce, I can beat the Spell Pierce just by untapping Mana Vault, whereas if he has something where I need to be able to fluster, then I can fluster instead. Alright, so depending on what he does with this Preordain, we might end up just firing off Ancestral on our own turn. Yeah, Graham, I think I feel differently about Force of Will to a lot of people. I just think it's a necessary evil a lot of the time, especially against decks like this where I don't know if I can reasonably beat a Leovold 90% of the time. I mean, to be fair, like I just feel differently about Force of Will to a lot of players in general. I think I would almost never board all of them out in any matchup ever. Yeah, whatever, you can Abrupt Decay my Mox Sapphire. Yeah, Null Rod is actually okay. So, I've mentioned before that I think like this deck is surprisingly not soft to Null Rod. And I think this is a really good example of why. Like, yes, Null Rod can be kind of frustrating, but it's kind of not the be-all end-all here. Yeah, it does seem like a really bad waste of decay. I think he probably just didn't have anything else to do with it. So I think we can let the Pierce resolve and Abrade the Leovold. And it's not a good trade for us, but alright, so let's sit on that library. Actually, do we want to sit on library or do we want to... I think we want gifts. Yeah, I actually forgot about the Null Rod, which was stupid, but shit happens, right? Guess I'm going to gifts here. and hope. Yeah, okay, so... snap. Snap decay. This is hilarious. Or is he just gonna fluster storm us? Okay, so do we go like Tinker... Treasure Cruise? We have a call already in the bin. I definitely want to Snapcaster Mage. We need 4 blue cards, by the way. So the reason we need 4 blue cards is we want to have Force of Will up. He may have interaction for it. That's fine. Tinker, Treasure Cruise, Snapcaster Mage, and I think maybe Dig. So basically, we just want like every way to draw cards that we possibly can find. And Tinker just in case. So I think he has to probably give us something like maybe dig and snap, I guess, are the most are the least efficient from our end. He can't give us Tinker. Okay, and now we're going to force that Dig Through Time. And I guess we do Snapcaster Mage. And draw? Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, I can understand why he doesn't want to give us the Tinker. Tinker seems very, very, very... Hey, we got it. Okay. Probably shouldn't have scooped there, given we only had 3 cards in hand and only had a Jace. But the Crater Maker there, I think, probably would have ended up sealing it. Anyway, next match. So I'll actually be back in just a moment. So you reckon Jace, Tinker, Cruz... See, I don't think I like Jace there, Graham. Like, not if I'm going to gifts for it. I was happy enough to draw it, but I don't think it's what I want to gifts for. Because I want to have cards that are likely to just... Like, Jace isn't as good in front of a Snapcaster Mage. And kind of make it sound like Snapcaster Mage does everything, but it's the fact that Snapcaster Mage is a clock and beats Jace. Just having him hit for 2 a turn makes a big difference. Yeah, I'm worried I'm going to run out of grog at some point. It's a serious risk. So hopefully we're going to get a different player and not have to wait another 10 to 15 minutes to do so. Fingers crossed he just went, oh crap, I lost an easy matchup. Maybe I should just take a break. We can hope. If we happen to be joined by any non-vintage players here or people who don't normally jam vintage, pipe up, ask questions. The thing I don't like about ticking up there is it's not actually going to win us the game. Because we're just going to end up basically breaking even. Like, I'm happy to just draw an extra 2 cards off the Jace and hope that that's enough. Rather than, futilely stopping him from... Like, at a certain point, you're going to have to start bottoming cards of his, and he's going to get to draw blind, and he's going to draw gas. Whereas if you, just draw a bunch of cards, you're going to find more gas. You're going to find a way to actually, maybe you'll draw Will. Maybe you'll find Demonic Tutor. Maybe you'll find a way to remove the stupid Null Rod. You'll find something. And then maybe even you just find Dak Faden. And if you find Dak Faden, you're probably so far ahead anyway. That you can, just ignore the Snapcaster Mage from there. Yeah, I don't blame you. What are you watching on your Legacy stream there, Graham? So speaking of Legacy, GP Niagara Falls is on at the moment, and unfortunately, it turns out that as per usual, we just don't get any Eternal coverage, which is nice, I guess, for the people that don't have to spend money giving us coverage. Wait, Angus playing Living End in Legacy? Is that what you're watching, Graham? I mean, fuck, at this rate, I might as well just go to the shops. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't open that link. If I do that, it will actually just kill my my stream speed. I wish I had decent internet, or like at the very least, decent 4G. So has anybody here played the? I know Graham won't have, but played the Legacy Cube. Wait, Living End went 9-0. What the? Legacy Living End went 9-0. I did not know anybody had made a Legacy Living End list. That's fucking weird, man. How did it? I suppose there must be a way, but I just would have thought there would have been enough grave hate in the format, just to be able to kind of deal with it. Look, people don't run huge amounts of grave hate. It's because you can normally find it. What do these cards even do? So I guess Shardless must make it just like a little bit easier to actually, resolve your living, or to cast your living end. And I guess Violent Outburst as well. This is a really weird list. I'm sure there's a good reason. Oh, wait, because As Foretold lets you just cast it for free, right? Sorry, I keep forgetting what the hell that As Foretold does. I also had to remember exactly what Cascade does, because I went looking for, like your standard cantrip suite to go with your blue deck, and realised that it's not runnable. Yeah, so see, that'll be a good reason to run As Foretold, so that you're not so heavily reliant on Cascade. Although, I guess Cascade is a reasonable way to do it. It's just, being able to make your land drops is really nice. As Foretold Stompy seems familiar. I can't remember why. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Restore Balance. Yeah, Wasteland does seem very uncomfortable. And not exactly a deck that's designed to beat Wasteland or Stifle. Or any interaction at all. It's very weird. Cool. Does this ignore Cage? So I thought Living End was hit by Cage. Maybe I must be wrong, but I'd always thought that Living End brought the creatures back from the graveyard, and Cage definitely interacts with that. Alright, let's find out what Living End does. Oh shit, okay, so it exiles all creatures from their graveyard. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I didn't realise that. I thought that it was just return them from the... Clearly I played a lot of Modern in my life. Enough that I know exactly how Living End does not work, but roughly what it does. Shit, we got another 15-minute fucking queue here. This is miserable. Alright, I'm going to wait maybe another minute and then I will probably rejoin the queue. Unfortunately, I also think this means we're playing one league only tonight. Yeah, so dodging cage is really relevant in Legacy, isn't it? It's just like such a bog standard piece of grave hate. So I guess it still doesn't dodge Containment Priest, but that's not very common. And, you know, of course, like Crypt and Surgical, but they're not. Kills Priest? Oh, shit. Yeah, okay. Living End's a very different card to what I thought it was. Alright, I'm going to have to restart this queuing and just hope. Yeah, I can't even remember what All Hallows Eve does. That's not the kind of strategy that I normally like playing. Like, it's kind of like Dredge, but weirder. And as anybody who saw me play the other week has realised, I get real frustrated by Dredge too. Mostly because I can't draw any good cards. So I'm trying to figure out what the vintage trophy leader normally plays. Because I haven't come across him before, and I haven't seen him on Goldfish. Okay, so he just plays a range of stuff. So he's got a really cool Jeskai deck here that's just... Its win cons are like 3 Snapcaster Mages and a Jace by the looks of it. And everything else is just control. I reckon that looks like fun. Adrian, you would love this. You, clearly never tap out. Only 3 forces, though. I think that worries me. And Gitaxian Probe does nothing. Still don't know why people play Gitaxian Probe in a deck. Like a one-off Gitaxian Probe in a deck that, just doesn't utilize it very well. Like if you don't have Mentor or Pyro, I'm not sure why I understand the reason for playing Gataxian Probe. Willing to hear input from others, but yeah, I've always just... What are you yelling about? Look, you fuel dig and cruise just by playing a game plan. Like, anything you do just fuels dig and cruise. Right, you can't not fuel it if you're playing a blue deck. You play counter spells, you play fetch lands, you're going to fuel dig and cruise. And an extra one card is probably not going to be like the make or break 90% of the time. Especially because it's literally, like we're playing vintage, it's a one-off. I know people rate the information very highly, but it just seems to me as in, like, if you know what you're doing, you can probably work around the fact that you have a rough idea of what's in your opponent's hand, and it's like 90% counter spells. I don't know. I do know that people do rate like Probe very highly, and they do like playing with it in their deck. No, look, I've seen some very good players play with it. Like they like the fact that it gives you information, draws a card, costs nothing, and then you can always just snap it back and draw another card. But I don't know. I just always felt like anytime I was playing with it, it just felt anemic. And let's not pretend that I'm good either. It's just, yeah, like it always felt like it didn't do much. And I guess, look, maybe it just depends on the deck that you're playing, but I'm just looking at literally a blue, white, red. So the list that I'm looking at the moment is playing 3 Force of Will, and I think Force of Will's pretty important in Vintage. And I'd probably rather play a 4th Force. Regardless of whether or not you like the fact that it, like exiles a blue card. I just think that it's important enough that it's worthwhile. And look, even another Dak Faden would probably be better. Oh fuck it, play a Mentor. But then I guess like you're playing both, but no big at that point. So I'm sorry for everyone following along for this monumentally uninteresting stream. It's been rather depressing. Just don't know if like everyone's asleep or in bed or drunk or at church or whatever it is. I know it's Easter Sunday, like yeah, time zones are fun. Look, Adrian, nothing needs more workshops. Yeah, that sounds like a man that likes casting Chalice more than having fun. Cantrips are much more fun than workshop. Oh yeah, Chris couldn't keep watching. It was a bit too late. I assume it's like 11 p.m. or something in New Zealand. Look, you can have 4 chalices. You just need to play a different format. Okay, so I guess like sooner or later, I'm probably going to just have to start jamming stupid games in the tournament practice room or something. Um, if this goes on more than like another couple of minutes, I'll do exactly that. Do we have a preference between Pauper and Legacy? Tournament practice room games only, just so that I can actually bail. Legacy? Okay, no worries. Alright, give me a sec. I will be back and we will jam some Legacy. Oh, no, wait. Perfect. I will jam Legacy games between. Let's keep this. And hope that we dodge all the bad things. Alright, opponent can A-call here, that's fine. Yeah, I know. I was actually quite happy to be able to just jam a couple of super games at Legacy, but hey, whatever. Fucking hell. Why is everyone so keen to play Dickrite Shaman? So, in case anybody hasn't realised this already, Deathrite Shaman is actually like just a card that I don't like very much. Thief of Sanity. I think we're happy to force this. And our opponent's probably going to be happy with this as well, but so be it. Holy shit. So does anybody know if we get to actually see our No, so we don't get to see our Exalt cards. Great. And I don't think we quite scooped this up yet. So I think we want to hit like one more land drop, hope the Tezzeret resolves. Maybe like a Lotus? Yeah, Lotus could do it. So I think we're just going to have the same board plan as last time. Like, Jace is a bit anemic. Hercules does nothing. And we just cut Vamp for being the weakest tutor. And hit submit. So I'm less confident with cutting lands nowadays. At least with the current list, just because I literally... I'm at a point where I actually feel like the land drops matter a lot more. Just because we're not playing like the consistency engines of preordain. So we're going to time walk here just to get us an extra land drop. And I'm wondering if I should Jace here. Alright, so I guess we'll get a Jace and hope that we dodge Force of Will. So there's an argument here to snap and time walk instead. But I think I kind of want to snap and time walk with a... So I think we want to snap, like we're happy to snap and time walk with Jason play. Let's just hope that opponent doesn't have Force of Will here. I guess if they had Force of Will, they probably would have forced the... the Pyroblast there. going to fluster this, which is also fine. Okay, so I think we take something like dig fluster. We should have bashed with the Goblin Crater Maker, however. Alright, so I guess we're just going to dig here. And I think we're going to take... What do we reckon? Like... a braid and... time vault, maybe? Okay, let's do that. So we got a little bit lucky there. We kind of just hit absolutely everything. Between like Dig Through Time, Jace, having the Abrade for the Deathrite Shaman, having the Crater Maker just to deal with whatever it might have been that came along, and forcing an opponent to burn a Flusterstorm on a Time Walk. Correct to do it, but not exactly where you want to be. I think we got very lucky there. I'm sorry, Oscar, I don't know. I'm not familiar with you, I'm sorry. I don't know who I am. Who are you? Okay, so I guess from here we A-call. And Force Pitch Drain. Oh, okay. Sorry, Oscar, in that case, I'm not sure. I know Adrian. Alright, so I guess we're going to take the beats from the Goyf. I'm a bit disappointed we didn't hit another blue card. And I think we're 100% going to chump here. think we're actually in really bad shape right now. I don't think there's many ways we're getting out of this. I think we're really close to like Tinker or Bust here. So how much damage is on the board right now? We have 5-9. I think I'm actually just going to scoop. I don't think we can beat this. I can't believe we drew 6 cards and missed on a blue card. I'll fire up another match. Hopefully it will take less than 10 minutes and I will play some Legacy in the meantime. I'll be back in a moment though. Alright, so as I think I mentioned a little bit before, we're just going to jam in the tournament practice room. It's not terribly exciting, but at least we'll have something to watch while we wait for the next match, and something we can bail out of quickly. And it shouldn't take quite so long to get a match going. So we're playing some Legacy Storm here, Ad Nauseam Tendrils specifically. We are, I think, going to keep this hand. It's a little bit fragile. It's possibly going to lose to a Wasteland. So I think our first cantrip is going to be to try and find us another land drop. Ideally a fetch so we can cash the Brainstorm in properly, but we're not terribly concerned about that. We're also going to ponder specifically for the reason that if we miss on a land drop, we want to be able to shuffle. It's a good start. So Dryad Arbor puts us on either like Elves, Maverick, or this is not going well. Elves, Maverick, or 4-color Loam, I think. Okay, so Elves it is. So given the start that we've had, I don't think any of those options are terribly good. We kind of actually need to... Oh, there we go. Okay, so if we put back Preordain and Preordain, we can, I think, actually just win from here. So what we can do is we can fetch, cast a Dark Ritual, Infernal Tutor for Dark Ritual, Ritual, use the pedal for red, Past in Flames, and loop it. So Preordain. We should have a fairly just easy compact win con from here. Underground Sea, yes. And we're going to have like Storm Plus from here. It's just quite a clean win. And we have Tendrils plus a bit. So unless they have Mindbreak Trap main board, that's not happening. Post board, we actually want something like... I kind of like having these. They come across... We have Gaddock Teague fairly often. Which means you need a reasonable amount of removal because you often need to be able to find it naturally and quickly. What we're going to cut is probably something like one of the Past in Flames because they may or may not have black ley lines. We'll keep the Dark Petition just as like a hedge because having an extra tutor can be very valuable. We might trim on a Duress. Trim on a Preordain. Trim a Cabal Ritual. And I think we can cut an Island. Because we're not going to be threatened by Wasteland. So we trim an Island rather than like Black Source. Just because, you know, black is what we need to actually win. And we're going to keep that. So if we top deck like Dark Ritual, we're going to Ad Nauseam. If we miss on that, we're just going to Preordain. Opponent's very likely to have like a Thoughtseize or something similar. We don't really care about a Thoughtseize. Oh, they're going to 5 cards. Yeah, okay, so Duress, no worries. They're probably going to have to take either the Dark... I think it has to be the Dark Ritual from here. If they give us the Preordain or anything else in this hand, then they're probably in trouble. So we're currently 8 minutes into our Wait Q on our vintage game, by the way. Oh, wow. So, opponent made a very risky play there. So either they have another discard spell to follow it up, or they think they can erase the Ad Nauseam. Okay, there we go. There's the other discard spell. Oh, okay, cool. We've been paired for a match. All right. Well, fuck. It's just a night of straight up bug. Okay. I think we're going to keep this. We're probably going to lead on a vamp tutor. And I think the vamp tutor is going to... Yeah, you can wasteland us and we will... So we're fine with the misstep there. It's going to let us resolve our brainstorm soon-ish. And what's our game plan here? Goif is bad. And top is very good. So I feel like we're going to end up using the DAC to try to find us like some kind of deterministic win. Okay, so I think this looks like a Leovold. Oh no, not a Leovold, a Thief of Sanity. So I guess we'll top. And we're going to hope to dodge exactly Force of Will here. And I think we can actually pitch the Brainstorm. Because we're going to have Drain up. So it's possible we should have cast the DAC there, but I think I'd rather have a Drain. And I think we definitely need to fetch end step unless he has Wasteland. Alright, let's just Drain here. So, what are we going to do? I think we want to... Guess we need to DAC here. And DAC into... Maybe we just hold up Drain. So the issue with holding up Drain for us is... So we need to dodge a lot here. So what we need to dodge is... Oh, fuck. Wasteland. Alright, I think we can actually safely scoop from here. because we have another 6. We have a lot of damage coming. Yeah. We can't actually just race the clock there. We're going to do the same. Pyro and Crater Makers and Cut Vamp, Hercules, Jace. And hit submit again. Okay, so I actually kind of like this hand. And I think we're going to go something like... Mox, Top, Island, Go. No, we're getting misstep, that's fine. So I'm wondering what we do next turn. I think we might be able to dig, but we'd have to exile Lotus. Which isn't the end of the world. So how much mana do we have? So if we tap Academy, that gives us 2. We have 7 mana. Alright, we might as well fluster this. So we're flustering at the moment to just build a graveyard. Which probably sounds a little weird, but I think we want to get this dig off. And what are we going to do here? So if we tap Academy, so we have 6 mana. So we have 6, 7, 8. And I think we want something like a Red Blast and a... Well, let's take a Drain and a Tezzeret. So we're taking the Tezzeret at the moment so that we can try to find like a Vault Keywin or something. And we're 100% draining this Trigon Predator. And we're just going to take Time Vault here, and we're going to like just hope like hell we can set up a neat win for next turn. Alright, so he's going to snap Time Walk, kill Tezzeret, and yeah, okay, no worries. Alright, I guess this is why we should have maybe gone for the key first. So going for the key first there would have just like bought us a little bit of time against the Snapcaster Mage. We weren't really expecting it to come down like that, but, you know, it is what it is. Okay, this is looking real bad for us at the moment. So, I wonder... Can we afford to skip a turn? Alright, I guess we're not going to now. This is not exactly going our way. So it would have been nice not to top deck 2 lands back to back here. And to actually find just something like Demonic Tutor. Which I think... It's not guaranteed to win us the game, but... It's not a bad option. Okay, so key does. So, we need to close our eyes and hope like fuck this works. Because we have exactly Force of Will right now. Okay, so we're still not out. So then the cards that get us out of this are something like Snapcaster Mage Might. Okay, so what do you reckon is the biggest threat here? Is it Snapcaster Mage or is it Deathrite Shaman? So like Snapcaster Mage is problematic in that it can be Jace bounced and alright, so I think it's going to be Snapcaster Mage. I think we're just going to be patient and wait another turn. Because I actually don't think it makes a difference to our... Like, it makes a difference to our clock, but not our game plan. Alright, never mind. We drew garbage for a million turns straight. We can concede there. Alright, so let's hope that we'll play one last match, because why not, we're here. I'll jam some Legacy in the meantime. Not a very exciting match, unfortunately. We have not done terribly well. It happens. And we need to mulligan that. So we bottomed a tutor just because we need to bottom something. We have a tutor. We'd rather have multiple Thought Seizers. Opponent is mulliganing really low, so it's very likely on something like Dredge or Reanimator. And so I think we're just going to Thought Seize him. What the hell are we playing against? That's the battlefield tapped. 2-1. I guess we take a Crypt Breaker. I think our opponent's on Jank. It's not going to be terribly interesting, most likely. Maybe I should have taken the other Crypt Breaker. Oh shit, I missed rejoining the queue. Gonna have to keep a closer eye out. Alright, we're joining our last match. Hey, we're getting something that's not bug control. Okay, cool. Sui Black, no, Crypt Breaker is not a Sui Black card. Crypt Breaker is more like some kind of zombie tribal card. We're going to keep this. So we're keeping this for a turn 1 Tinker. With Force and Fluster back up. My bad. I forgot that we need another artifact for the Tinker. What do we do here? Do we fluster that? He's clearly on Paradoxical. 90% on Paradoxical with that play. Yeah, okay, he's on Paradoxical. Mox is nice. Alright, so now we actually do have our... No, we don't want to double drain whatever he plays. This is fine. So what's going to happen here is I think we're probably going to like... Fluster his Force. And hold up Force for his outcome. And hope that he doesn't have backup. So this is where it gets a bit dicey. I think Cruise is fine. Believe it or not. So Cruise was fine because we only care about outcome at that point, because outcome's the only thing that's going to lose us the game on the spot. Cruise, on the other hand, just draws 3 cards. It's fine. What are we cutting here? We're cutting... Alright, so I think we cut the Tinker package. Because while that looked good, it was, you know, like just pure luck. We only got there by lucking out and having exactly like the full Tinker package more or less in hand very quickly. So we've got these 3 cards. These are all amazing against Outcome in that, like, Notion Thief in front of an Outcome just kills them. Pyroblast is just cheap interaction, as is Mindbreak Trap, and I think I just want 1 by Force just as a hedge. We're keeping the Hercules because that works as basically a counterspell. The Abrade because it deals with Time Vault if they have it. And potentially maybe Managorger Hydra, but not likely. You could tell I had Managorger Hydra because they fetched a Trop. We can cut an island because I think we can afford to be a little light on land in this match. And as I said, the aforementioned Tinker package, we're going to keep things like Top and Vamp, which like can be a little anemic occasionally, but I think in this matchup are really useful. And we're 100% keeping this. So we have Force, A-Call. Yeah, sure, you can Probus. So I think what we really want to do is like hit a Mox. We will... Just want to A-Call here. I think we're just going to A-Call here. And we're going to let him fluster. So I think this is all fine. There's an argument for playing like Top and Sol Ring. But I think I kind of like this a little bit better because it forces him to use some resources that are going to come into play when we actually have to fight over, I think, like one of the few spells that actually matters, which is the Outcome. I guess maybe it's a little different now they're playing Managorger Hydra. It's not a land, but that's fine. Okay, so I think we want to... I think we might want to keep the Misstep on top. So the reason to keep the Misstep on top over the land, because we're gonna have to draw one of these cards. I think we can happily Sol Ring to draw the land next turn and keep a Fluster up. Whereas the reason to keep a Misstep up on top is to just deal with problems like this. I think we're going to pitch Tezzeret to Force of Will. That is the most awkward card in our hand right now. So we're still okay with... Sorry, we're still okay with the trade that we just made where we lost our misstep. And we're still okay with the fact that we haven't made our second land drop. The reason being, we've got a Flusterstorm on top of our library. We've got a Force of Will in hand. So basically, we just want as much interaction as we can develop to make sure that our opponent just never really gets online. Sylvan Library is a bit of a cunt of a card. I don't think we can let that resolve. So we kind of almost hope that our opponent forces here. Oh, fuck yes. So all we're doing at the moment is we're just trying to set up as best we can to make sure that opponent goes nowhere, we go everywhere, and all our cards trade better than his do. We still can't get the treasure cruise off here. Hey man, how you going, Glenn? Fuck, what do I do? Okay, so this is a tough top. I think what I actually want to do, I think I want the Jace. So the reason we're taking the Jace here is because what we want to do is top into it next turn, resolve it. We don't even care what happens with the Jace after that. If they have to Force of Will this, we feel really good. And we're going to start fixing our hand and drawing a shit ton of cards really quickly. Alright, so I think what we actually need to do here is we need to... oh shit, Vamp and Will actually suck here. So... that's fine, I guess. So we're actually a little bit exposed here. Alright, so that's a draw 2. I don't think we care about a draw 2. Top's fine. So at the moment we're not too stressed just because he's using a lot of mana to do not very much. There's actually a really tiny number of cards that we actually care about from here. We really want to get a Notion Thief off any moment now, but we still need black mana. Oh. Okay, so we kind of want... to... Oh, we have Snap Fluster up. Okay, never mind. Who cares? So we're going to snap a call if we possibly can at the end of our end step. We're not going to stress too much about anything else. So maybe... Alright, yeah, so we're definitely going to snap a call here. If he does anything. And so we're not really super excited about Snap A calling here because we actually know the top two cards of our library. But I think we actually just want to draw past them at this point. So we're going to like get blown out if he has like a Fluster Storm. You can have a Mana Vault. Maybe we don't snap here. Alright, so opponent conceded. That was nice. We've gone through our league. We did really badly. We played against a lot of bug control. I still have half a drink to go, and maybe one more. So what I'm happy to do is just jam a bit of Legacy. If people want to see some Legacy, I'm not going to sign up for another Vintage League at this point. I'm sorry. It's been a good solid like 3 hours of dicking about. But happy to jam a little bit of Storm. Okay, so we're on the draw. This hand is pretty mediocre, but we have Island Brainstorm. Okay, and opponent's on Dredge. Don't think people have quite cottoned on to like how not amazing Dredge is yet. So we're going to play the Volcanic Island for a couple of reasons. We want to have red up, and we also want to bluff being a deck that we're not, and we know we're not going to get wastelanded. We're hopefully going to get to like convince him that maybe we're like a Delver deck or something. You give us until May sometime, and we will find out. No, I have no idea, man. All I know is that like the bloke said they're getting taken to the artist. They're going to get signed, and unfortunately, that means we have to wait. So, like, I'm kind of really hoping that they're done by like mid-May, I honestly have no idea. So we brainstorm there to pretend like we've got interaction. Like maybe a days or something. And how many therapies does he have? He's got one therapy. Oh no, wait, he has two. Okay. I think we can just concede here. So we kind of want like these 7 cards. I don't think we like Thought Seizers. Island's bad. Island's okay, but not amazing. Cut a Preordain and cut Rain of Filth. So we cut Thought Seizers because we just don't really want to Thought Seizers creatures. Preordain's slow, Rain of Filth is slow, and Ireland is just unnecessary. Bunch of bounce spells and a couple of Flusterstorms and a Tormod's Crypt. Just for maximum hate. And I think we need to mulligan this. We can keep this. I think we're going to bottom a Lotus Petal. And we're definitely going to cast a Duress. So opponent's hand is like not quite garbage, but semi-garbage. And a Putrid Imp. So he's going to be able to get his Dredge on. He's going to be able to Dredge twice in the upcoming turn. I think our objective here is to ponder into like a Tormod's Crypt. So opponent gets a Dredge once and do nothing, I think. Ah shit, Faithless loading. Alright, we can probably just scoop it up here. Yeah, okay, we can just concede. So we're conceding there because he has both Cephalid Colosseum and a Faithless Loading, which basically just means he gets to draw almost his entire library. We're not going to come back from that. We kind of need at least like a few more mana to be able to do anything there, and we're not going to have it. So something like a Chain of Vapor might have been somewhat valuable there. But then again, I think even that may not have been enough. So I think this might be my last match of the night. It's been nice having everyone, for anyone who's stuck along for a while. Just going to hope that I get some kind of blue match here, because I think that's going to be far more interesting than watching another like a Dredge Storm matchup. I will mention there has been like a lot of Dredge in the tournament practice room. People have assumed that it gets better under the London Mulligan rather than worse. I think those people are wrong. For anybody who's not played under the London Mulligan, the reason I think they're wrong is all to do with the fact that it's... Yeah, okay, so Dredge's opening hands are a little bit better. The problem is the hate against them is a little bit better as well. And people just like get to open a hand with like Daze plus Grafdigger's Cage plus... no worries. Thanks, Glenn. Thanks for coming along. Yeah, like other people's hands just get so much better that it's so much harder to get your Dredge on. It makes it a bit awkward. I say this after like only 3 or 4 matches trying to play Dredge, but it's very uncomfortable. So we're only keeping this off the strength of the Preordain. If we get Thought Seeds, we're probably in trouble. There's theoretically a reason to mulligan this hand, but I think if you mulligan this hand, you don't really grasp just exactly what Storm does, which is just... You have almost a full combo here. If you draw like a land and any source of red mana, you're probably going to win. And I think we kind of like... We don't like Dark Ritual, we do like Brainstorm. So the reason we don't like Dark Ritual at the moment is we have a lot of mana. We don't really need more other than an LED. Okay, so I think our opponent's on Storm. Now we know they're definitely on Storm. Duress is a little bit of a giveaway there. And they probably have to take either Cabal Ritual or Brainstorm, and I think Brainstorm's probably going to be the #1 take. Like, it's the only card in our hand that keeps our game plan moving. So unless we rip exactly like LED off the top... Can we do anything with this? So, at the moment, what do we need to be able to do? We need a red source. So why don't we... Yeah, the mirror is fucking balls. We're going to set up better to draw a red source. Like, we just want to make it any red source at all. And so, theoretically, it's reasonably likely we're going to lose on our next turn. Storm goes off very consistently turn 3 without any interaction. And we haven't presented any interaction. Having said that... Oh yeah, this is looking... no. Yeah, okay, that'll do just fine. Alright. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to do something horribly disgusting. We're going to completely ignore the fact that Lion's Eye Diamond is a card. And typically an important one. And we're just going to use the fact that like Past in Flames was in hand just to take the win. If anybody hasn't played with Past in Flames before, the card is absolutely nuts. We're going to use a Tormod's Crypt and we're going to use a Duress as well. So we'll cut an island. Island's one of the weaker cards in combo matchups. Preordain is medium, Rain of Filth is a bit slow, and Cabal Ritual can be a bit slow as well. So we're basically just maximizing discard. Discard is not amazing in the matchup, but it's good enough. So this hand is a turn 1 Adnors. So while this hand is theoretically like relatively soft to like a Duress or a Thoughtseize or something like that, because they're going to take... Fuck is he doing? Okay. So I don't know why our opponent took the card that he did. Because what we're going to do is we're going to... This is not ideal, but we have a turn 1 ad nauseum, and we're going to try to draw roughly 20 cards. And hope the 20 cards is good enough. It might not be. Because we now only have 3 initial mana sources in our deck. And an average CMC of 1. Alright, well, Lotus Petal's a good start. Dark Ritual's good. Alright, this is not exactly what we want. Oh, whatever. They've just scooped. Fair enough. Alright, been fun hanging out with everyone. I will hopefully do this again on Anzac Day Eve. Fingers crossed. If I don't manage to do that then, I will see everyone later. Thanks. Bye.